fashion.
Even today, they put up their nose at us like we're peasants.
You know him as Furio on The Sopranos, but off the set, Federico is also an accomplished artist.
These days, I really only have enough time to work on it at night.
At just 18, he did this portrait of George Burns. More recently, he sketched another familiar face.
I did this from the mirror in the trailer, and we had a lot of downtime that day. And so I decided to do a self-portrait.
Fellow castmate Joe Pantoliano was so impressed that he now owns a piece.
Let me tell you, Joey Pants, he made my head this big. He saw this painting in progress, and he said, "You gonna sell me that painting? You gonna sell me that painting?" So finally I gave in and I sold it to him.
You probably won't see his artsy side on The Sopranos, but this season you may see sparks fly between him and Tony's wife, Carmela.
Who knows where it's gonna go? Boh. In Italian we say boh.
Boh, boh, whatever that means, boh.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Jules Asner.
And I'm Cindy Hom. We leave you with Elvis Presley's Jailhouse Rock. See you next time.
Los delifilmó Jurassic Park, parte 2. Laura Novo.
La película.
La película El Mundo Perdido, Jurassic Park, requirió de 18 meses de preparación en la construcción de los modelos de 3 dimensiones de los dinosaurios. La preparación de bocetos y storyboards comenzó 2 años antes. Para la recreación de los dinosaurios, se tomó en cuenta la teoría científica de un paleontólogo, quien asesoró no solo del aspecto, sino del carácter y de los movimientos que los dinosaurios podrían haber tenido 100 millones de años antes. De esta información, los artistas comenzaron a construir los muñecos para la animación y los grandes dinosaurios mecánicos.
Let's talk about the movie. How do you feel working without dinos? Imagine the dinos. How was that kind of work?
Well, it's strange, you know, and challenging. I'm a little bit more familiar with it this time than the last time, because I did it before a little bit, but, you know, it's strange. You just have to know specifically where they're going to be.
En el set se debe encontrar la manera de recrear de alguna forma el movimiento que los dinosaurios van a tener. Así los actores tienen referencia de hacia dónde están mirando. Esto se condice con una interacción extrema entre los técnicos de animación de los grandes dinosaurios mecánicos y los técnicos de efectos, quienes realizan las explosiones, los movimientos de los autos, los vidrios rompiéndose, los árboles cayendo, etc. La tarea comienza filmando solamente los fondos de los decorados vacíos. En estos, los realizadores colocan en perspectiva pequeños muñecos de referencia y se filman algunos movimientos. Luego, el material fílmico es volcado en la computadora donde, cuadro por cuadro, el animador reconstruye sobre las imágenes un boceto de los dinosaurios moviéndose.
True that you weren't allowed to use cellular phones or computers in the set because of the dinos and because of the machines?
We had safety meetings. Like these T-Rex models were like 2 stories tall and weighed tons of machinery, and they would say, don't get near them if you don't have to, if you're not acting with them, and turn off your cell phones and your laptop computers, because that's how we're controlling them. And because if you do, they could, you know, lurch out of control, and if you're near it, you know, the last thing I wanted to be is killed by a model T-Rex.
Una vez realizada la animación, las imágenes pasan al director técnico, quien le coloca la textura, la piel y el color a cada dinosaurio y lo combina con el fondo vacío originalmente filmado. El resultado final fueron dinosaurios vivos que interactúan con los actores y responden a la dirección de Steven Spielberg.
En instantes, viajamos con el...
The second of 2 sons on July 30th, 1947 in Graz, Austria, and grew up in a nearby village. His father was a police commander, his mother a housewife. Arnold was raised in Spartan surroundings, living in a house without indoor plumbing or a refrigerator until he was 14. Arnold learned the importance of exercise and education from his disciplinary...
Viajamos con el...
The second of 2 sons on July 30th, 1947 in Graz, Austria, and grew up in a nearby village. His father was a police commander, his mother a housewife. Arnold was raised in Spartan surroundings, living in a house without indoor plumbing or a refrigerator until he was 14. Arnold learned the importance of exercise and education from his disciplinarian father.
I remembered when I was 2 years old, I was already swimming. When I was 3 years old, I was already on the ice, doing ice curling with my father, which is a very Austrian sport. And when I was 6 years old, I was already playing on a soccer team, which is all kinds of little children. I ride along with them. And of course, at the age of 10, I was already playing on a leading soccer team. So sports was part of our life all along, as much also was regular education, because my father was a fanatic about education, and there was to read every day and do mathematics every day and quizzes about geography.
At 15, Arnold's admiration for bodybuilder and movie Hercules, Reg Park, inspired him to take up bodybuilding. Arnold trained hard to achieve great success, winning many European titles and becoming the youngest Mr. Universe ever. His success caught the eye of the leading U.S. bodybuilding promoter, who helped Arnold immigrate here in 1968.
When I first came to this country 18 years ago, friends of mine took me up here to Hollywood, because that's one thing a foreigner always wants to see right away is Hollywood. And they took me up and down this Hollywood Boulevard, and I saw those stars with the various different names of big Hollywood stars on it. And I said to myself, wow, what a dream.
Arnold moved to Los Angeles and became the world's top bodybuilder, winning 13 world titles by pushing himself to the limit.
Well, my personal workout program now, it used to be when I was competing, it used to be 4 to 5 hours a day of lifting around 50 tons of weights a day, and also running 3 miles each day.
While bodybuilding, Arnold was also becoming a successful businessman. His ventures included a bricklaying business with bodybuilder friend Franco Colombo, authoring bodybuilding books, and real estate investments. Soon, Arnold was eager to prove himself in a new field, movies.
When I was a bodybuilding champion, that's all they could see, is the body.
Right.
So then when I got into acting, it was up to me to prove that I have more to offer than the body. So it was me to come through with the substance of acting. And that took time, because you don't just step in and the great actor. So first they utilized the body very well.
Arnold made his acting debut in 1970 as Hercules in Hercules in New York, a film made for Italian television, but had his lines dubbed by another actor. Arnold's early film roles continued to stress his physique, including Stay Hungry in 1976, the 1977 bodybuilding documentary Pumping Iron, and the comic western The Villain in 1979. Arnold's breakthrough came in 1982 when he won the title role in Conan the Barbarian and its sequel, Conan the Destroyer. Both movies were huge moneymakers, but Arnold's acting came under fire from critics.
I've never in my entire life spent 1 second about worrying that someone takes me seriously. I don't care. That's not my bottom line, to be taken seriously. If they don't or if they do, it makes no difference to me. My bottom line is to entertain people and to do great movies. That's it.
Arnold's next film, The Terminator, was a huge hit in 1984. Arnold used his minimalistic acting style to his advantage in playing a killer cyborg from the future. Arnold enjoyed channeling his competitiveness into acting.
I always have believed, and this goes way back to the bodybuilding days and to the days where I was heavily involved in real estate and in business and all those things, that the bigger the competition is, the better it makes you perform. Because the pressure is on, you cannot slack off, you have to perform, you have to deliver.
Despite Arnold's confidence, he isn't immune to the pressures and nightmares that come with starring in big-budget films.
You wake up out of this wild dream where you're lying in the middle of the forest, totally naked. The lights are on, the cameras are all rolling, and you don't know what is the movie, where's my wardrobe, where's the script, what are my lines. You know nothing. All you know is that you're exposed out there and you're not ready. And that's usually a signal that you just feel like you're not quite ready yet.
Arnold was ready to star in a string of hit action movies, including Commando and Red Sonja in 1985, Raw Deal in 1986, and Predator and The Running Man in 1987. But Arnold also recognized the limitations of the action genre.
The films I do, women are in a way. I cannot go in Predator into the jungle with 7 other guys, and all of a sudden we get hit by this alien monster, and then all of a sudden say to the girl, okay, listen, wow, this monster's attacking my buddies here, let's go around the tree here and have a little action going. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit into the film, you know, so therefore you stay away from that.
In real life, Arnold found his leading lady in broadcast journalist Maria Shriver. They had met at a tennis tournament in 1977 and began a long courtship that ended with a wedding at a Hyannis, Massachusetts church in April 1986.
You see somebody like Arnold, who was a bodybuilder and who was making a switch, and people went, yeah. But, you know, they misjudged him, and I think to their loss. They misjudged him because Arnold is a very driven, and I think that's all been borne out. He's very driven, very focused, very disciplined, and very, very bright, and very, very funny.
Arnold, who became an American citizen in 1983, is a staunch Republican, while Maria, who is the late President Kennedy's niece, is a Democrat. So, did this cause any friction?
We have absolutely no problems, Maria and I, because she's a Democrat and because I'm a Republican. We have no arguments, there are no differences, there are no wild things going on in our relationship, especially not because I'm sleeping in the garage.
I know that he and I don't agree on a lot of the issues, but we do agree on a lot of issues. I like to think that Arnold is actually more of an independent. He hates me to say that, but or more of a closet Democrat. Yeah, he doesn't like me to say that, but he actually is. But I admire that he takes an interest in politics, and you know, he believes in what he believes in, and we don't, you know, jump into discussions about politics a lot because they often do end in
heated discussions. When we come back, Arnold takes on a new foe, comedy.
Look at those laugh handles there on the side. We put them over your head.
Hi everyone, welcome back. You're watching Arnold Schwarzenegger Uncut. I'm Eleanor Mondale. Now in 1988, after playing a Soviet cop in the movie Red Heat, Arnold starred in his first comedy, Twins.
My goal was for a long time to do a comedy. So this, when I heard about this concept from Ivan Reitman, Twins, Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I laughed, I loved it right away, and I wanted to see the script. And when I read the script, it was funnier than the concept.
Arnold felt equipped to tackle comedy.
In order to be funny, you have to have a sense of humor. And in order to have a sense of humor, you have to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh at everything else that is out there. Everything that you see or that anyone does has a serious side to it and also a funny side to it. It just depends on how you look at it. I always look at it at both levels, the serious side and the funny side. I had the confidence that I could pull it off. Because I felt if I rehearse enough and I work enough on it, and if Danny and Ivan will help me, I can pull it off. But still, it was a new thing, and I realized that I could not rely on the special actions and then explosives and special effects and all those things, that I had to rely on my acting and on my timing and the rhythm of the speech and the dialogue and all those things.
Arnold has shown not only is he funny, but he can also laugh at himself.
I think that if someone imitates you, like Hans and Franz on Saturday Night Live, and they talk about, look at those laugh handles there on the side, we put them over your head and we use it like a shopping bag. You know, that's great. I laugh when I watch Saturday Night Live and they do the imitation of me.
In 1990, Arnold starred in the futuristic thriller Total Recall, playing a man whose memories have been altered. Co-star Sharon Stone had her own take on Arnold's success.
It's absolutely pure. Who he is who he is. How he deals is how he deals, and he has a program, and that program is true. It's not something that he does because he has to. It's something that he does because it is natural.
In 1990, Arnold also starred in Kindergarten Cop as an undercover cop trying to cope with a class of kindergartners. Off-screen, Arnold was coping with fatherhood for the first time, with Maria having given birth to a daughter in December 1989.
Baby Catherine is the most alive child I've ever seen. I mean, he gets up early in the morning, and I play with her early in the morning before I leave the house, and she's just so full of energy. She loves to eat a lot, play a lot, scream a lot, everything a lot. I mean, she's all over the place. It's really been a wonderful experience having this great addition family.
Twins and Kindergarten Cop broadened Arnold's appeal to children. He took his status as a role model seriously.
The bottom line is to do great movies, to entertain people all over the world, and then to use at the same time this power of influence that we have over kids and promote healthy lifestyles, promote exercising, promote staying away from drugs and violence, promote education, promote reading every day and doing math every day.
In 1990, Arnold spread his message with new authority.
President Bush has asked me to be the chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports and to help him in getting this country back in shape. Our children have to get in shape. Our children have to learn about the importance of physical fitness, because sports don't only just make our bodies get in better shape, they don't just make us stronger and faster and more flexible, but sports always teaches us great lessons for life. Lessons such as discipline, lessons such as setting goals, how to deal with failure, about camaraderie, and all those kind of things that we need later on in life.
Arnold visited all 50 states to deliver this message to government and school officials, and especially the children.
What do we say to alcohol? No! What do we say to tobacco? No! What do we say to drugs? No! But what do we say to exercising daily? Yeah! Bravo!
Today, Arnold continues his fitness campaign as a private citizen. When we come back, Arnold copes with a rare disappointment.
Some things go right into the toilet.
Welcome back. You're watching Arnold Schwarzenegger Uncut. I'm Eleanor Mondale. Now, 1991 was a big year for Arnold. His second daughter was born, and he had his highest grossing film yet with Terminator 2 Judgment Day. In this sequel, Arnold was back as a cyborg, but this time he was the hero. Like his character, Arnold had changed since the first Terminator film.
This is now 6-7 years later, so I have grown up a lot, and I have learned a lot more about acting and all this. I think it was really nice to take on this additional challenge to not only play this one-dimensional character, but to make the character evolve and add on those extra dimensions and play a Terminator with a heart.
In 1993, Arnold spoofed his screen image in the comedy fantasy The Last Action Hero, teaming with child co-star Austin O'Brien.
It's very different working with children than working with grown-ups. But the advantage is that the kids act so real. So it makes you become more real, and it brings things out that maybe you've never done before, or that people have never seen you do on a screen. So I learned a lot in this movie, and that's always my hope and my wish, that every movie that I do, and every time I work with a different director, with a different actor or actress or something like this, I learn something and I grow as an actor.
Because of its huge budget, the movie studio insisted Arnold executive produce the film, a first for him.
When you're just about finished with your scene, all of a sudden you have 5 people standing in line. They're waiting for you to make decisions as an executive producer about the merchandising, about the marketing of the movie, about the crossover promotion, about when the movie should come out, about the post-production. All of those things, all of a sudden you're being asked all the time, and you cannot sometimes get ready for your next scene because your mind is still on this, and then all of a sudden you have to jump over here. So it's a big challenge. But I learned how to do that and how to cope with that challenge. And I had a great time doing it because I love when someone gives me a lot of responsibility.
Whether producing or not, Arnold is always a master at promoting his films, granting endless interviews.
It's like whenever you get something new, you're all excited about talking about it. You know, it's like when you get a new car, you don't mind saying to 20 people that day that you got this new car, look at it and tell all about it.
In Cannes, to promote Last Action Hero, Arnold shared his media savviness with his young co-star.
I love the festival. How much excitement there is. How many photographers we have. Thousands of camera crews. Thousands of journalists. That's the way to promote a movie. Market a movie. Remember this for your future.
Despite all of Arnold's efforts, Last Action Hero was a box office disappointment.
Some movies do not do as well as you expect. I think that's natural, because you can't expect everything to go through the roof. You also have to accept that some things go right into the toilet, and they are not as good as you hoped it will be. They're not going to get the critical acclaim that you hoped for, and they're not going to go through the roof in the box office. So be it, and you move on. I mean, that should not shake you up. It's like just something like sometimes you make a
you know, a step back to make two forward. And that's what that is. And then the next time you come around and you do something again, well.
Arnold bounced back big in 1994's hit True Lies, playing a James Bond-like spy.
The idea is to show that the audience always things they've never seen, you know. You just can't make explosions bigger each time and make the guns bigger each time. So you come up with new ways of doing things that really make it spectacular and epic.
The film's action was both spectacular and, at times, dangerous, as Arnold learned while doing his own stunts.
I think the scariest one was the diving under the water with the flames above me. To me, that was really scary because there was no way out. There was no chance to submerge from the water if I ran out of air, because the flames were above me and they were very high and very intense.
When we come back, Arnold tried something new, cross-dressing.
I did not look like an attractive woman.
Schwarzenegger Uncut. I'm Eleanor Mondale. Now, in 1994, Arnold returned to fertile comedic territory in the movie Junior. He played a scientist who became the world's first pregnant man, and he used his wife Maria for inspiration.
I remember very well when Maria threw up the first time right in front of me on a breakfast table, and so I will never forget that. So, of course, then you act that out also when you play a role like that. Or when Maria came for the first time and said to me that, you know, I feel so great being pregnant. I feel so full of joy. It's just wonderful. And the next day she comes in and she says, I'm so depressed. I hate my body. You know, and all this kind of thing. So you remember those moments and you include that in those scenes that you do in a movie.
Arnold really threw himself into the role.
Usually when an actor does an eating scene, he always eats and doesn't swallow the food and spits it in the bucket and then goes on and does the next take. I just kept eating everything and swallowing everything because it was so delicious. And we were mixing, as you remember in the movie, pickles, salami, cheesecake, chicken, some oriental food.
Junior marked the first time Arnold dressed in drag.
Dressing up like a woman, I mean, this was a lot of fun. It was hilarious, you know. It was just, I had so much fun with running around, like with the wig and the earrings and picking up my own little jewelry for my wrist and the necklace and all those things. I did not look like an attractive woman, but I have to say that it looked great and very entertaining. I think that the point of it in our movie was not to look like the best-looking woman in town, but to look like an East German Olympic track and field champion that has taken a little bit too many steroids.
The film also allowed Arnold to get in touch with his feminine side and to cry on screen.
It's not scary to show it on film because I have that side in me. I have the emotions in me. It's just that the men in real life just don't show it. You know, I think that we are very much like women in some ways, but we are not supposed to act it out like women. We're supposed to be much more ballsy and look tough and not cry and not get emotional. So we always hold those things back, whereas women let it go.
Maria felt Arnold's pregnancy made him a changed man.
She thought that when I came home from filming that I was much nicer at home and much sweeter, more understanding, gentler and all those kind of things, unlike when I come home from a Terminator shooting day, where I'm much more, you know, kind of more bottom line guy and much tougher. So she called Ivan Reitman and she said, why don't you just continue with the shooting, just do a sequel, just to get, Arnold is so nice right now, I think this is really working well for us here.
Arnold wasn't the only one affected by this role.
They start treating you much more gentle all of a sudden when you have this woman's clothes on and you're pregnant and all of a sudden Ivan Reitman that usually hits me on the shoulder and says, so how are things going? All of a sudden he touches my shoulder in a very smooth way and says, Arnold, how are things today? You know? Oh, it's crazy, the whole thing. It really is unbelievable.
Arnold found his next role in the 1996 thriller Eraser in classic Hollywood fashion.
One of those things that when you go up in the chairlift in Sun Valley and you go skiing with a studio executive, inevitably they pull out at one time or the other on the chairlift. Arnold, I happen to have this Eraser script here with me. Why don't you take it home and read it? So this is really how it happened.
Well, that's it. Thanks for watching Arnold Schwarzenegger Uncut. I'm Eleanor Mondale, your host, and I will see you next time.
I think about it as one thing, and that is to have fun, to enjoy myself, to be productive and do good work, to have a great time with my family, and a great time with my friends. The life that I always fantasized living, I live in reality. I mean, I had certain fantasies as a kid, and I was very fortunate to turn those fantasies into real life, you know, and to be in films, to act, and to do all the various different things, travel around the world, and have a wonderful marriage and great kids and all those things. I mean, those are things that someone can just dream of, and it's very rare that someone has it in reality.